Hey everybody, welcome. I trust you're having an amazing day. Yeah, it has been quite interesting energy that has been pulsing through, and I can just say that it is about to just keep getting more and more activating. Yes, we are here right before what is going to be an Aquarian full moon, and there's so much going on with this energy right now. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Let me know in the chat. Let me see here. Let me see. Banner, sound, chat. Okay. What is this? That viewer comment. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. So, first and foremost, I am curious if you participated in last week's update. What did you think of doing a meditation? Did you like that? Did you enjoy it? If you are anywhere that you can comment, let me know. And if you're not, that's okay. Feel free to comment elsewhere or at another time. But I'd really love to know what you thought that was like. I used to do a lot of those a while back and kind of fell out of the routine of doing them. But every now and then I get really pulled into doing one, usually around some kind of special occasion like it was last week. And I'm getting the message, you could say, that doing more of those could be beneficial. So I'd love your feedback. All right, I'm going to start by just getting into a little bit about what's happening now, because I really want to be able to help prepare you and also just help you navigate what you may have been feeling up till now. As you know, I love connecting the dots between consciousness and our ascension path, our ascension journey, the awakening journey, and really how it ties into things like, or the influences of things like astrology and numerology, and just the energies overall that are coming either from our galactic sun or from things like the Schumann resonance, much closer to us here on the Earth's ionosphere technically, but from Earth to the sun and all of that goodness in between. So to do that, I wanted to bring a few things to your attention. Okay, so what's happening on this full moon, there's so many culminating celestial bodies that are really joining forces, you could say, to create the perfect setup for rapid, accelerated awakening. Unlike we've seen probably so far, but very much similar to some of the things that we've noticed so far in this year of 2024. Super potent, super activating. If you've heard me talk about a square in the past and how a square kind of creates, this is cosmically speaking, okay, when it comes to astrology, when a square is created, it creates tension, right? Think of like when you're in a box or there's boundaries around something. What does it do? It gives it structure, but it also creates tension because there's only within this frame that you can play. You don't have limitless boundaries. Well, that kind of stuff, when it happens astrologically, creates a similar feeling. Like the stage has been set. Like there's something that is presenting itself to you and you can't escape it. So from a spiritual growth perspective, it's perfect, right? So your soul or higher self is going, oh yeah, let's play with this. And really, and at a God creator level, this is exactly what we are coming into these times for, because they're creating these perfect setups for us to be challenged with the things we need to be challenged with next, because they are things that we haven't yet really broken through. You may have made progress on it up until now to a certain extent, but you at a higher level know and expect and are choosing to bring yourself to a new level of awareness around it, and help you finally really break through, or break through to a new level that you haven't yet been able to. So this full moon on the, oh my gosh, do I even have the date? On the 19th? I think it's the 19th. You'd think I would have that in front of me. is designed to do just that. It's going to really confront us with more things. And remember, it's not just a one-day thing. This is the kind of situation or the setup cosmically, energetically, that it bleeds to a few days before and bleeds into a few days after. And some of these things are like, this is a kickoff point for something that's going to continue for longer periods of time. But we're not going to get into that kind of detail here. But just know that there's a few different pieces to this. So one of the things that's really interesting about this particular moon is that, or we'll call it a cycle. Okay, we'll call it a cycle or a passage. I'll call it a passage. That's probably the best word, because it's not just a one-day thing. It's not just about the moon, really. It's about everything that's taking place around this. Is that there are several planets at play, and in particular, there are 8. Why is 8 significant? Well, we talked about 8 last week. 8 is about abundance. 8 is about infinity. 8 is about all good things, right? 8 is about pointing back to you. Because if you see the infinity symbol, much like you see the 8, it all comes back into the center, right? There's so much around that number that we could get into, but just know that everything comes back into that center point as you weave your way around. And that center point is you, right? It's about taking full responsibility for what's going on in your life, what's gone on in your life in the past, and now what you're going to be creating in your life moving forward. So if you have been playing with a lot of victim consciousness, that can seem intimidating because you're like, oh, geez, it's all up to me. Well, I don't know what to do, or I don't have the answers. What this time is really trying to impress upon you, and particularly Aquarius, which this is the Aquarian age that we are really birthing now together. But this Aquarian full moon is so rich and ripe with Aquarian energy. And Aquarian energy is all about independence. It's about freedom. It's about self-empowerment. It's about taking control, not in an external trying to control things, but self-control, self-mastery. Aquarius is the higher mind. So the higher mind is really your divine mind. It's the mind that you receive that intuition from, your real higher guidance from. Not the guidance that we're sometimes mistaken, which is actually the ego just trying to lead you astray. No, this is your higher mind. This is the one that is really trying to guide you with those breadcrumbs towards all the things that you want. So this energy is full and everywhere right now and is culminating with so much intensity around this particular moon cycle and with the other planets that are at play. So several weeks ago, we were talking about Jupiter. We were talking about Saturn. And Saturn, when its influence is felt, it's about creating long-term change, okay? Grounding things in, like for the long haul. It's not like just a fleeting moment or a fling of some sort. No, this is long-term. And then you mix Jupiter into that, and Jupiter's energy is all about expanding. It makes things bigger, right? And then there's Mars, which is about kind of similar to Jupiter in a way, where it's like a multiplier almost. But just particularly between Jupiter and Saturn, which are planets that are playing a really big role right now, our cosmic brothers and sisters, along with Venus, which is about beauty, which is about kind of the romance of life, right? And taking some slow down. There's a mix of all of this stuff at play that is creating some opportunities to, number one, find out what is it that is really, where do I need to focus next? What is standing in my way? And then what am I going to do about it? But then being influenced enough by energy that's going to allow almost like this bit of feeling of a bit of a reprieve. So you can breathe. And that's the influence of like Venus coming into play. Jupiter expanding a bit of that. So you feel like you have the space to breathe while you're processing and dealing with the stuff that's feeling like it's challenging. It's quite perfect because there's nothing better than being confronted with a challenge and then knowing that, okay, I've got a bit of breathing room. I'm going to process this. I'm not going to dig my head in the sand, right? This is about facing it and then dealing with it, processing it, practically speaking. This is the other bit of this too. It's like taking care of practical things. Had these things been looming and just like sticking around? Are they old things that you've been dealing with till now? Great. Amazing. I say the older the better, because this is your opportunity for all of us to be able to like go into the bank, the old recesses, the old archives, and pull out all of those things. I can't tell you, it's been so hilarious as I've been watching in my own life how things have just been showing up, like things from the past and in interesting themes where, oh my God, another thing to do with a past relationship that just shows up. I'm like, okay, I guess, yeah, let's deal with it. So if you're noticing themes, it's fun. Pay attention to them. See how that ties into things that maybe are taking place and what you're preparing to create, or things that you maybe have been avoiding. Not being super, super authentic, open, straightforward, to be able to just finally clean things up. Creating a brand new you. That's what we were doing several weeks ago, maybe even now a month or so ago, where we were crossing that point of saying, okay, I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to become that new version of me and really own that and be that. This is like an opportunity now where you get to deepen into that and feel enough pressure so that you don't avoid it. And also feel the pressure of time in many cases, so that it's like, I have to get this done now. If I don't, there's consequences. Do you guys relate to that? Yeah? I'm going to stop here and just ask, is there anything that you're noticing in your own life that is showing up that kind of feels reminiscent of what I'm describing? Let me know while I adjust my desk. Okay. Did I bring myself an apple? I think I did. Okay, this is also time to stay hydrated, my friends. I'm going to take a bite of my apple. As you guys know, I think you know, if you've been following me for a while, that I often get a little dehydrated. And so you'll see me drinking or eating apples in particular. Okay. So anyways, super, super amazing. All good things that are coming from this. But I want to mention one other thing too that's very interesting and more of a signal of what this time is really going to yield for us with this moon and the celestial bodies at play. So planets can be in different degrees, like locations. Okay, whenever certain events happen, you can pinpoint it, kind of like you're pinpointing your location on a map. It's the same thing in the stars. And so there are 3 planets that are in the same degrees. It's 29 degrees. Now, with numerology, it's all about what does that number reduce to. So when you look at the numbers 2 and 9, 27, my apologies, 2 and 7, they both have energies about them. But as far as numerology goes, it's what they reduce to. So what does 2 plus 9? 2 plus 7. I'm going to the punchline too early. 2 plus 7 comes to what? You add it up and it comes to 9. And 9, if you've heard me or followed me for a while, you know I love the number 9. 9 is the God code. Okay? 9 is the ultimate of endings. But it's not just an ending. It's like coming back to source. See that? Just even from the way that number shapes, comes back to source. There's so much about that. Even visually, you can tie that into so many symbols. But anyways, the number 9 is, so it's basically, it's a 999 code on that particular moon because of the planets that happen to all be and the signs that happen to all be in the 27 degrees, all at the same time. Now, there's no mistake and no coincidence when these happen. If you think about it, so the energy of a full moon on its own is kind of like harvest season, right? So it's the end. It's the end of something. And then new moons are known for being the beginning. And so when you have a moon that is already going to be carrying the frequency and supporting you into completion, bringing things to a close, ending things, and then you have extra numerological codes thrown into that, it's just going to amplify it more and more. Is anybody feeling the energy of endings coming up? Or bringing things to a close? Bringing things to a close. Yeah? Okay, I'll tell you a funny story. I had one thing show up that I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. It was, believe it or not, a bill that showed up from a house that I owned back in 2018, but actually had sold it. There was a problem with this particular utility. Hey there, Joey. And don't ask me how it could have actually happened, but given the times we're in, hidden secrets coming to light, all kinds of things drawing to a close, any loose ends, gotta tie them up. This is perfect. So how many years is that? 1920? 6 years? 6 years. I get an email from the utility company saying there's an outstanding bill. I'm like, how is that possible? How? How is that possible? Anyways, it had to do with a water heater. So, okay, technically it wasn't like what we would expect to be like a utility. But the bottom line is, by some small miracle, this wasn't closed, which was also, this property was also tied to a previous relationship. 6 years, 7 years? Either way, long time ago. It would make sense if it was 7 years actually, because of the cycle of sevens. But either way, this kind of thing is the kind of thing that surfaces. Things getting pulled out of like archives of the oldest parts of your life. They will show up. If it's something that needs to be addressed, it will show up. And don't look at it as like something that, try not to get frustrated. That's what I'm trying to say. Try not to get frustrated. Try not to feel annoyed. Try not to feel like, oh my God, my world is crashing. No, look at it the other way. Like how I felt. First was like, I was shocked. I was confused. I had to laugh. Also, I'm like, how does this even happen? And then I was like, oh, it makes perfect sense. Because any of these loose ends with relationships that you're no longer in, and this tie of some sort is no longer serving, yeah, it's a great thing. As I sat there and contemplated for a moment, what's it going to feel like when this is actually resolved? Like, as weird as this is, and I could say as frustrating as it is, but I chose not to be frustrated. It really wasn't activating me that way. It was just like, okay, how do we get this resolved? Like, this is so bizarre. And then as I imagined it being resolved, I was just like, that's going to feel so good. Like, it's just going to feel cleaner. You guys get that? So look at the things that may be showing up for you and look at the end result, like the end of the journey to tying that thing up, and then feel into how that feels. That's where you want to stay. And you will notice, if you're not in your activated ego mind trying to simply offer you conditioned responses, that's simply trying to pull up and activate fear, which is not who you are. If you're not in that mind and you imagine, how's it going to feel when this is actually done? Even if I don't know how I'm going to get there, how's it going to feel when it's actually completed? It's always going to feel better. It's always going to feel cleaner, lighter. You're going to feel more, what? Free. And so that ties us right back into the energy that we are in now. This Aquarian full moon energy, which is a rocket blaster into the Aquarian consciousness and the energy of this entire period of accelerated awakening. So it's a really beautiful time. A really beautiful time. Okay, let's see what we got here. Joey is affirming, yes. Endings of energy, endings and energy for sure. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. Yeah, and just agreeing in general. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's I don't know. If you are feeling it like I'm feeling it, it feels like there is an energy and a momentum that is building. I found for myself, and you may want to do this too. In fact, I will highly recommend it and make this as almost like a little bit of home play. I say homework, but home play. Okay, for the next few days, because we're at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Okay, so Monday. Basically, make a list for yourself. What are all those things that you have been, that have maybe hanging around, things that you've wanted to get done that feel like a ball and chain just hanging on behind you? Make a list of those things and very literally put it on paper. There is power to writing things out. And there's also tremendous power in taking those things that are maybe weighing you in your mind, that are weighing in the back of your mind, what am I doing? Particularly, and bring them to the surface. And remember, that is the part of the energy that we're in right now, is like all that stuff that's hidden, all that stuff that we don't want to talk about, that we don't want to deal with. Now's the time. Leverage the energy that's at play. There is nothing better than actually trying to take care of things that feel heavy, that feel like, I don't want to deal with these, and doing them at a time when you're most supported. And this is going to be one of those times. So for me, what I've been doing is I've actually been getting increasingly more structured in my organization, which I actually have to say I generally take pride in being organized and having structure and having lists. And I love taking my lists and doing things with them. But now it's like it's a little bit on steroids. So if you're not already doing that, write down everything you'd like to take care of. We're literally coming into the official kind of harvest season, as here, at least in our hemisphere. August is coming to, I don't want to say it, but August is starting to come to a close. We're nearing the second half of August. And then as we go through August, we're going into September. And so our cycle here is starting to head into our harvest season. So this is going to be a time where this kind of energy builds. And so putting together, like doing a brain dump of all of the things that could be on your always wanted to get do list, get done, always wanted to do, get to do list. You know what I'm saying? Doing a list like that, just listing everything, everything. Don't feel the pressure of how to get it done. Just the actual exercise of you writing it down is going to activate them. It's going to energize those things and start to create opportunities where you will be able to do them. But just getting them out of your subconscious, out of your memory where they're sitting there, very literally taking up space and leaching energy from you because your mind has to maintain the memory. Put it on paper. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but Einstein was once asked what his phone number was. And he said, I don't know my phone number. It was, I don't sit there trying to remember my phone number when it's accessible in a phone book. Back then they had phone books. He goes, I reserve my memory and my brain power for things that actually need my thinking. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So this is part of why I'm recommending this to you. Whether or not you're aware of it, the more that you keep in your mind, the heavier it feels, the more confusion there is. And then the more there's actually of what feels of a scatteredness and a feeling sometimes like you're losing your mind because you're running out of space. If you remember back in the day, defragging a computer, what happens when a computer needs to be defragged? It's when files have been stored, but they haven't been stored in a complete, clean, orderly structure. They start to get a bit messy. And that's what it's like within your brain when you are trying to remember so many random things that really you probably don't need to. If you write them down, your brain can breathe. You actually create space in your physical and energetic brain for you to then think about other things. Or how about this? maybe not think at all and just be present. So at the end of this, that is what we are actually going to be able to do more of. There is a subtle invitation underneath all of this that over the days and then the weeks that follow is to bring us into more presence. Bring us into a state of being where we have cleared so many things out. We have addressed so many of these scattered random things from our past, from our maybe closer to the present, things that are looming, these loose ends, tying up things, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, including purging things, getting rid of things, simplifying. All of that is really in preparation for us being in a place where we feel light enough that we can then be more fluid with the choices we make, with the things we do, and even the way we be. And as we get closer and closer to that, our souls are more able to guide us into higher and higher experiences while we are in physical form. And really, this is why we came now. To elevate our human experience by lightening the physical vessel, the energetic vessel, including our minds, of all this distorted and fragmented information, storylines, programming, etc., to allow only what's really us, the true expression of us, to be present, because we are cleaner, emptier vessels on many levels where we can then embody our higher spiritual selves. So it's a pretty cool time. Does that all make sense? Does that resonate with you guys? Joey, I see you left a comment here. Interesting. I'm feeling a strong pull to get things organized as well. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's pretty liberating, isn't it? And empowering. That's the other thing about getting organized, is it's very empowering. When you have someone like, for example, that has like a messy desk, they always say, oh yeah, but I know where everything is. Maybe, but it will always take lifting one more paper, or maybe rummaging through a few pages, or maybe looking on the desk and then looking in a drawer, but you ultimately find it. I get it. But it's not as lightning fast as having taken those things that are all on the messy desk as an analogy. Putting the things that are actually garbage into recycling. Taking the things, putting them into piles so that the things that are related go together. And then if some of those things have an actual place, you put them in. Then you have a map in your mind of where things are precisely. And then when you're like, where's that thing? Like, oh, it's right here. Oh, it's right there. And there is not as much visual and energetic distraction as you look at a pile of many things. And when we do that to a messy desk, it's the same kind of experience as doing it to a messy mind. As within, so without. And then as without, if you're reactive, so within. So the more right now that we can welcome the changes that we're being presented with, welcome the opportunities to face things, to tie things, clean things up, whether it's a relationship disharmony or it is something that's presenting as an obstacle, you name it. It's all leading to you ultimately being like a brand new defragged computer. Clean on the inside, running like a tightly, finely tuned machine. Able to run like a Ferrari. Because really, anything that is cleaner, lighter, more structured, more orderly, is more of a representation of the divine. right? Higher frequencies are more refined than lower frequencies that are more dense. And everything is about geometry, mathematics and geometry, essentially. And if you look at any geometric structure that is of a higher frequency or representing a higher frequency, it's always more beautiful, more uniform, it's simpler in many cases, and it's just more refined. So allow yourself to become more refined during this period. Literally refining us into those diamonds like we talked about last week, right? Yeah. So welcome this time, my friends, my brothers and sisters. This is going to be a super, super charged next several days. I'm so excited for it, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited for us. If this resonated with you, please feel free to leave a comment. Look at that. Look at a bell just beeping right now. And if it didn't, let me know about that too. Would love to know. Anyways, I love you dearly, and I'm delighted that we got to spend this time together. I'm going to go pop back into the Elevate community right now and share our replay inside there. And I am looking so forward to hearing about what took place for you over these coming days. I know for us, I think one of the things I'm going to do is wash our carpet. I know that sounds crazy. Thank you, Joey. I'm glad that it resonated with you. So glad you could be here. Absolutely love your presence. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to, as I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do this weekend? I think, I'm not 100% sure. See, I'll be very quick here. I'm torn right now between two things. One, the part of me that wants to get things done. And there's the task, or really the treat, because we've been looking forward to it. We got a carpet cleaner, and I really want to wash this big shag rug that we have. I'm so excited. Have you ever watched the rugs cleaning on YouTube? Anyways, won't be us, but it's exciting. It's really cool. Very, very rewarding. And the other thing is I feel like, part of me just wants to go and like drive somewhere and kind of have like a day by the water or in the forest, relaxing. So we'll see. We'll see what comes up. Both of these energies are pulling. So we'll see. Let me see. Never. You are more than welcome. It is a gift for all of us. Okay. My brothers and sisters, have an amazing rest of your day. Delighted you could join us. And any comments or questions, feel free to leave them. Love you and see you next time. Bye for now.